Well, Marilyn Mosby's request to move her trial could backfire. The latest on her team's effort to take her legal battle out of Baltimore. Several shootings across Baltimore, too. Why some argue the crime bills stalled in Annapolis could have made a difference.
And the weekend is off to a nice dry start, but then I'm tracking our next weather maker. I've got an updated look at our rain chances from that and what it means for your weekend plans in a couple of minutes.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
7 o'clock on this beautiful start to your Saturday. Yeah, thanks for waking up with us and planning out your day with us, too. We appreciate it on this October 22nd. I'm Tom Rogers. Taylor Stewart has the weekend off. We want to get right over to your forecast. And we've got one of those good and bad days. So meteorologist Amy Aaronson's here to tell us today's a good day, right?
Today's the better of the two weekend days. We're starting off cool this morning, upper 30s, low 40s to start, but already we're seeing a very pretty sunrise, and that's going to lead us into a dry day. So if you're planning out your weekend right now, today would definitely be the better of the 2 days for outdoor plans. Little chilly this morning, but perfect for enjoying that first or second cup of coffee. As we head through midday and this afternoon, we will enjoy lots of sunshine, and that's going to help our temperatures warm. Pretty mild today, with highs getting awfully close to 70. But come tomorrow, I am tracking that next weather maker and that next opportunity for some rain. I've got an updated look at exactly how much rain we'll see courtesy of that system in just about 10 minutes. Tom?
All right, thank you, Amy. And we are following three big stories in a city in crisis. Bloody start to another weekend. Shots ringing out in at least half a dozen places. At least 2 more murders. Some point to soft crime policies as a green light for violent offenders. We look into that discussion at all levels of government. But we begin with another twist in the trial of City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby pushing to have her case completely moved out of the city.
To think that Ms. Mosby's team would like to leave this court, this judge, given that this judge has been very fair from what we can see publicly to both sides. So it's certainly a gamble.
Fox 45's Jeff Abel has been following the potential fallout from this request and has more on how the trial progresses from here.
The ink had barely dried on the indictment before Marilyn Mosby was demanding a speedy trial.
What I'm asking for is that I be tried right now.
Oh, we're pushing for trial.
Because I know that I'm innocent. So I'm ready to go to trial tomorrow.
In 70 days.
But now, more than 200 days later, Marilyn Mosby is yet to stand trial. A flurry of motions has twice postponed the trial. And now Mosby's defense team is asking the trial be moved out of Baltimore altogether.
Is it strategic? Certainly it's strategic.
Mosby's request for a change of venue is still under seal. It's unclear why her defense team wants to move the case out of Baltimore. But previously, her defense team has argued that local media coverage has already prejudiced potential jurors, even though the state's attorney has appeared on national media discussing the case.
To turn around and say, well, the media is not giving me a fair trial when you're the one that's seeking all the publicity is a very, very hard uphill battle.
It's unclear where Mosby's defense team wants the trial to be held. If the federal judge agrees that she can't receive a fair trial in Baltimore, it could be moved out of state or to Maryland's only other federal courthouse in Greenbelt.
Most of the jurors very likely will come from Prince George's County, people of color. So perhaps her defense team may believe they'll get a more favorable jury pool in the Southern District of Maryland.
I don't know that she's necessarily going to get a jury that's more favorable to her. They certainly would not be as familiar with the facts of the case.
While the court waits to hear from prosecutors, it's the federal judge who will have the final say.
To think that Ms. Mosby's team would like to leave this court, this judge, given that this judge has been very fair from what we can see publicly to both sides. So it's certainly a gamble.
Now, as Jeff was just mentioning, the trial begins March 27th. Before that, there will be 2 hearings in January discussing motion and then deadlines. There will be a pretrial hearing March 7th, jury selection scheduled for March 23rd and 24th. Plus, we're following the outcome of that change of venue request. Police have identified the man wanted in the murder of MTA bus driver Elaine Jackson. Police shared a picture of Leon Douglas Hill. You see it right there, accused of shooting and killing Jackson at the MTA Bush facility. It's a bus depot in southwest Baltimore Tuesday night. Police are asking for the public's help, urging anyone who knows where he might be to let them know. We have his picture also on our foxbaltimore.com so you can share it. At least 2 people are dead after 6 shootings in Baltimore. On the left on the right-hand side, you see Calhoun Street and Magnolia Avenue in the map. On the right of your screen there is along Greenspring Avenue near Druid Hill Park, where you can see the bullet holes on that car. The driver survived despite being shot multiple times. New information now back to that Calhoun Street shooting. Officers say they found a man inside a car who had been shot multiple times. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Anyone with information on any of these crimes asked to call police or Metro Crime Stoppers. 7:05 and beyond the podium. Some local jurisdictions desperately trying to find poll workers. Baltimore City and County are hiring election judges. The county advertising it as an opportunity to earn some extra cash, while the city is about 1,000 election judges short. City offering to pay election workers between $200 and $275 to work at those polls.
Election judges have been hard to recruit ever since the pandemic. We are still hard at work trying to recruit judges. We are still training judges. We do the very best that we can with what we have in our hand to work with.
Well, the city is also struggling to train its election workers. The election director saying 60 people were scheduled to come in for a training Wednesday, but just 10 showed up. Be sure to check out the Fox 45 voter guide for all of our reporting on the upcoming general election. You can use your phone's camera to scan the QR code you see, and it will take you straight there, or you can head to foxbaltimore.com/vote 2022. 7:06 now. Maryland's congressional delegation is urging Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg to approve grants from the bipartisan infrastructure bill to redevelop Baltimore's Highway to Nowhere. The city hopes to jumpstart the revitalization effort. The Highway to Nowhere is a section of US 40 running from the west of Baltimore Mark Station to Green Street. It was supposed to go all the way to 70. Now, in the 1970s, nearly 1,000 homes in a predominantly black neighborhood were razed for the incomplete project, permanently dividing once connected, busy and vibrant neighborhoods. Taco Bell innovating the fast food experience. Just ahead, how some will be able to get a charge while eating their chalupas.
And our temperatures are warming back up. Actually, the 70s are back for the week ahead. I'll let you know exactly how long this milder stretch is expected to last, and when we are tracking a couple of chances for rain in a few minutes. It's 7:07. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
Coming up on 710 and in your consumer news this Saturday morning, TikTok says it's raising the age limits for hosting live streaming from 16 to 18. Media app is also allowing users to post adult content via streaming. Currently, users with at least 1,000 followers can host a TikTok live stream. 18 and older users can also earn gratuities for their content. A judge rules a class action lawsuit against pasta company Barilla can now move forward. The suit accuses the company of deceptive advertising about its pasta's origins. The issue is the brand's slogan, Italy's #1 brand of pasta. A lawsuit claims the slogan suggests customers believe it's actually made in Italy, but the pasta is actually made in Iowa and New York, using the same type of machines used at its hometown plant in Parma, Italy. Taco Bell is adding to its menu, but it's not just food. Fast food joint adding electric charging stations to its parking lots in more than 100 locations all across California. Stations are solar powered and can give 100 miles of range in about 20 minutes for about $20. We all knew it was coming, and now it appears we're learning just how much Netflix will be charging to share your accounts. Yeah, the company is reportedly weighing a $3 to $4 monthly fee to share accounts. Netflix has proposed cracking down on the use of shared passwords, saying it costs the company about $6 billion in lost revenue yearly when those other users are not paying. Pumpkin spice lovers might be enjoying the season, but fans of all things pumpkin prepare to pay more at the register. A report by finance website Magnify Money found that pumpkin spice items are 14% more expensive than non-flavored varieties. The data shows retailers typically charge an informal pumpkin spice tax to several fall-flavored grocery and food items. Still ahead, after the break, Fox 45 News investigation into the E. coli outbreak continues. We have a look at the timeline and the questions surrounding communication. Plus, the Ravens taking on the Cleveland Browns tomorrow right here at M&T Bank Stadium. Meteorologist Amy Aaronson will be letting us know if you need the jacket or maybe just a poncho. 7:12 is the time. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. At 7:14, we continue to question city leaders on how the Department of Public Works handled the September's E. coli water contamination in West Baltimore. And through a month-long investigation, Fox 45 News has uncovered serious communication concerns within DPW. Mackenzie Frost walks us through her findings at the accountability desk.
Throughout this investigation, there has been a lot of information, but I want to go through and highlight some of the key points that we've laid out on this timeline showing the communication among staffers within DPW and the State Department of Environment. First, on Saturday, we know that that's when the first positive sample of E. coli came back. That's when DPW ordered retesting to be done. On Sunday, the second positive sample came back, and according to the emails that we obtained at 11:35 that morning, DPW staff started informing other members within the department that this was happening. At noon, the DPW director, Jason Mitchell, got notified, and that's when the department says the State Department of Environment had been contacted. And remember that date and time. Then we go through, the mayor is notified, and other agency members start talking about what has to happen next. At 6 o'clock, that's when emails showed that Councilman John Bullock, who represented this area impacted by this water contamination, was notified. And then at 6:30, emails indicate that there was a meeting between members within DPW and members within MDE. And according to an email dated at 8:30 that night, this conversation started by these agencies talking about the importance and the need to issue that boil water advisory for residents that night. According to this email, MDE reminded DPW that the boil water advisory needed to go out Sunday, but we know that didn't happen. That brings us to Monday, and at 7:43 in the morning, the Department of Public Works puts out a tweet and puts a notice on the app Nextdoor telling some people that their water may be contaminated, not telling them to boil their water, but instead saying that they may want to consider boiling their water coming from the faucet. Then we have a slew of activity from the early morning into the early afternoon, with DPW talking about starting the draft process of the boil water advisory, talking about issuing a press release and what needs to go into that press release. At 2 o'clock Monday afternoon, DPW has another call with the State Department of Environment talking about what's going on. At 2:42, we have an email showing that a staffer within DPW says that a press release needs to go out by 4 o'clock to avoid a violation. And that violation is where the federal law comes in, dealing with the Safe Drinking Water Act, requiring city agencies to tell people who may be impacted of contaminated water within 24 hours. And that's the violation that they were concerned about. At 4:37, DPW sends that press release with the boil water advisory out to the public, explaining what happened and who needs to boil their water. But still, Monday at 4:37, the public has yet to hear from the mayor or the director of the Public Works Department about what is really happening with their water system. So even though DPW issued that boil water advisory, we have some emails shortly after that from MDE raising concerns about what was included, and says that that boil water advisory was not approved by the state before it went out. And then we have several hours go by where there are a lot of questions from the public, from the media, about what's going on. But it's not until 8:30 Monday night that we hear from the mayor and DPW director Jason Mitchell. That is when they hold their first news conference and start to answer some questions.
Once DPW received that confirmation, the public was notified.
But based on the emails we obtained and the timeline we built using their own words, it shows a different story. So we have some questions for some of the leaders at the top. These two leaders, the mayor and the DPW director, are where we will focus our investigation as we continue to dig for answers. Did the city violate federal law when DPW did not issue that boil water advisory on Sunday? Now here's a copy of that federal law, and there's some confusion surrounding when that 24-hour notification actually kicked in, and we're working to learn a little bit more. What is Mayor Brandon Scott's role in all of this? There are thousands of emails we have gone through, and we're still waiting on more emails to be released, so our investigation isn't over. At the Accountability Desk, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Now we want to get to meteorologist Amy Aaronson. She's got a look at our Saturday forecast, and really it's all about the activities that you can do outside. Amy, it's one of those great days you can either do zombie runs, you know, there's a whole lot of activities. Yes.
Yeah, so much happening. Homecoming down in Maryland this weekend. Lots of activities out there. Maybe you just want to take in the beautiful weather and enjoy some of the fall foliage that's now showing up. I actually have one image here of some leaf peeping from Melody Bunton, and she took this gorgeous shot and sent it to to us via Chime In. So if you want to do the same, just head over to foxbaltimore.com/chime-in, and we would love to see your leaf peeping pictures. We're also looking down at M&T Bank Stadium because, of course, tomorrow all eyes will be focused on that and that forecast for the game. We're off to a clear start this morning. Temperatures in the chilly upper 30s. This is all going to change, though, by kickoff tomorrow, and that's because by that point we're tracking our next weather maker. Today, luckily, we're still included in that big dome of high pressure that's protecting much of the East Coast from just about anything. Looks clear everywhere right now, but that next system is sitting offshore, and that's what's going to head our direction come tomorrow, setting us some changes. But today, completely sunny. High pressure nears us this afternoon. Nothing but sunshine today, but by this time tomorrow, this is what we're tracking. See this area of low pressure offshore? That's going to throw some clouds back towards us by daybreak tomorrow, and then this batch of showers. Looks like that will trickle in right around midday, so right by kickoff. Doesn't look like a washout, but I would plan on some on and off showers throughout that game, and that'll be wrapping up Sunday evening and Sunday night as that system passes off to our north and east. That means today is the better day for outdoor activities. If you want to head to a pumpkin patch, get your pumpkin, today looks great for it. Not only do we have blue skies and sunshine, we've got warming temperatures. If you hold off until the afternoon, you could probably get away without a jacket, with temperatures ending up exactly where they should be for this time of year, and that brings us into the upper 60s to near 70. Tonight, decent night for a fire pit. It's going to get a little cool after sunset with temperatures falling through the 60s and 50s, but we should remain dry tonight with just some increasing clouds. Now, tomorrow for the Ravens game, I would definitely pack a light rain jacket. And that's because we do have that chance for some on and off showers throughout the game. Temperature-wise, we are still in good shape. We are still looking at temperatures in the mid and upper 60s through the end of the weekend. Come Monday, even warmer. So the rain doesn't last long. By Monday, we're dry again. We stay that way through much of next week. Low 70s will take us through at least midweek, and that's when we're tracking another weather maker. This one will also bring us a spotty rain chance, but temperature-wise, we stay pretty consistent. And an early look at the start of next weekend, next Friday, looks mostly dry and still very seasonable, with highs hanging out in the mid-60s. Tom?
Yeah, just getting past Sunday. My goodness. Thank you, Amy. The first death from monkey pox in our state. How health officials say you can protect yourself from the virus. And she's scared to send her kids back to school. Mother's concerns after she says a video shows her young children being beaten. 7:22. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. 724 and topping your health headlines this Saturday morning. The Maryland Department of Health is confirming the state's first monkey pox death. It's one of only 5 monkey pox related deaths nationwide to this point. Health officials say the person was immunocompromised, resulting in more severe case. This comes as the health department continues its push for people to get the monkey pox vaccine. State leaders say nearly 700 Marylanders have contracted the virus. Baltimore City launched its first vaccination clinic this week.
So I want to be clear, anyone can contract this disease. What we have seen in this particular outbreak here in the U.S. is that there are groups that are higher risk, specifically men who have sex with men. However, what we see with the CDC expanding their eligibility criteria is that many people are at risk. If you're coming in close contact with multiple sexual partners or unidentified sexual partners and you're uncertain of their history, you are considered to now be in that eligibility criteria.
Now, vaccines are available by appointment only. Those who pre-registered will get an email from the city letting them know when they can access that clinic. If you want to register, go to health.baltimorecity.gov. 725 and former President Trump now formally subpoenaed and called to Capitol Hill to answer questions about the January 6th attacks. 10 pages sent to the former president demanding he appear before the committee either in person or by video conference November 14th. The committee is also requesting Trump turn over communications with members of his inner circle, focusing on the 3 weeks leading up to January 6th. Trump could face legal penalties if he doesn't testify. Yesterday, former Trump advisor Steve Bannon was sentenced to 4 months in prison for defying a similar subpoena to testify in front of that committee. Bannon won't go to prison right away. He has until next month to file an appeal. He also is set to go on trial in New York over fraud charges surrounding donations to a possible border wall. Several shootings across Baltimore City Friday, why some argue the crime bills stalled in Annapolis could have made a difference. Sunny and warmer day ahead on your Saturday. Taking a live look over Towson right there. And coming up after the break, meteorologist Amy Aaronson breaking down the full weekend forecast for you. 727 now. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News Weekends, all local, all morning.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
7:30, come on, take a look. Come over to your screen and just look outside. Yeah, it's going to be a great Saturday. It feels like one of those Saturdays we can get a lot done. Just to get outside, I don't know, like say, hey, let's go mulch the yard, or let's go paint the shutters. I don't know. There's a whole lot that you could be doing, or you could just hang out, sit by a fire. Why not? Thanks for joining us on this Saturday, October 22nd. I'm Tom Rogers. Taylor Stewart has the weekend off. We want to get right over to your forecast. We have meteorologist Amy Aaronson talking about how great the weather's going to be today.
Yes, today, that is key. Bringing the good news, at least for the start of the weekend. Little cool this morning as we soak up that sunshine. Upper 30s, low 40s. I'd throw on a jacket if you are stepping out the door to maybe knock out some errands early on this morning. Later today, though, I promise it's going to feel better. It's going to feel milder. Even with each passing hour, it's going to get a little more comfortable. We have sunshine straight through the end of the morning with warming temperatures. Eventually, we say goodbye to the 40s and hello to the 50s. So if you want to walk the dog, maybe just hold off a little bit. By 10 a.m., we're already in the mid-50s. And the rest of the day looks just as nice. Now, tomorrow, that's a different story. I am tracking our next weather maker. So coming up in 10 minutes, I've got an updated look at exactly when that arrives and what it means for the second half of our weekend. Tom?
All right, thank you, Amy. Now to a city in crisis as the crime continues, many questioning what's fueling it. We've seen several pushes for stronger crime policy in Annapolis. Many waved, though, away by Democratic lawmakers taking a more progressive approach. Maxine Stryker looks into Governor Hogan's unsuccessful attempts to pass laws focusing on stricter sentences.
I don't think there's any doubt that politics has made its way into the criminal justice system on so many levels.
Maryland has struggled for years to pass laws some would bill tough on crime. The legislation routinely receiving pushback in Annapolis. Republican Senator Bob Castle told us earlier this year the tug of war between those looking to be tough on crime and those not is only growing more contentious. The Violent Firearms Offender Act, aimed to crack down on criminals who use guns, has been introduced several times without success, failing to become law again this year.
Really, for the last couple years, everything's been at a standstill.
Political analyst John Deedy says the legislation introduced by Governor Larry Hogan may never have stood a chance with lawmakers at ideological odds.
In many ways, in Annapolis, it became more of a political battle. Okay, if the governor wants these things, we know what we don't want, and it's the things the governor wants.
Then there was the repeal of the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights. Democratic lawmakers overrode Governor Larry Hogan's veto to enact significant police reforms, including upping the civil liability police officers can face in lawsuits and raising the penalty for use of excessive force. Harford County Sheriff Jeffrey Gaylor said it sets a dangerous precedent.
To be clear, no one wants bad police officers on their force or on our streets. To be equally as clear, the processes, tools, and laws already exist to allow police leadership to fire those officers who should not be in service to our communities. Stripping away a proven due process system is not police reform.
Betsy Smith with the National Police Association says woke politics have led to the vilification of law enforcement.
As the state continues to see record violent crime, the attacks on law enforcement in the legislature and throughout the state continue to be increasingly frustrating for law enforcement.
And Smith says communities are suffering as a result.
You know who's paying for it? It's the people of the state of Maryland who are paying for it.
We reached out to all of the members of Baltimore City's delegation, where homicides are on pace to pass 300 for another year, asking, do you think you've held criminals accountable or emboldened criminals with legislation you have or have not supported in the past? How do you plan to address crime and the rising homicide numbers in Baltimore City in the next session? And do you think it will take a tougher approach to address the crime crisis? Deedy says it's time our elected leaders wake up and focus on what's really important.
A lot of times the people in Annapolis have worried about the silly things, such as worrying about, let's deal with the crime issue by dealing with strippers on the block, instead of focusing on something like, oh, there's a problem with guns or there's a problem with other aspects of public safety. We need more, police on the ground. We need to do a better job of focusing on enforcing law enforcement.
Maxine Stryker, Fox 45 News.
Well, this brings us to our question of the day. Do you blame, quote, woke politicians for the recent rise in crime? As you see on the bottom there, so far, 96% of those who have voted yes. You can go to foxbaltimore.com/vote to make your voice heard right now. This morning, a mother speaks after video emerges reportedly taken outside of a Baltimore County elementary school. That mother says it shows her 5-year-old daughter being attacked. Fox 45's Riel Creighton has this story.
Silent but vicious videos surfacing on social media. A mother telling us by phone those are her daughters, just 5 and 11 years old, being dragged and beaten.
Grabbed her by her hair and threw her down and started beating her head in.
Kayla Shiflett says her 11-year-old suffered a mild concussion. Her 5-year-old pushed to the ground in an unprovoked attack by 2 girls who both attend different schools, one of them in middle school, the other high school. Shiflett says who showed up to her kindergartner's building, Grange Elementary, 2 weeks ago. Her children both beaten and humiliated.
Every kid in the middle school knew about it the next day because they videoed it, posted on Instagram and TikTok. Any kid can go to any school and just beat up anybody and nothing can be done.
A mother outraged, believing this is part of a pattern of ongoing fighting happening in county schools. She says she was told by administrators due to privacy any disciplinary action taken against the girls who assaulted her daughters can't be revealed.
We are taking action.
Baltimore County Superintendent Dr. Darrell Williams, along with other top education officials, holding a town hall earlier this month to discuss the steps they say they have taken to combat violence and refute claims students are not being disciplined.
The fact that I couldn't protect her or be that person and make sure she was okay, and that it's just not fair.
Shiflett says she wants to know exactly how the kids who beat up her little girls will be held accountable.
I want justice for my daughter. I want her to feel like she's safe.
Well, violence has plagued Maryland's schools to start this year. A student shot and killed at Marlboro High School in Baltimore City during dismissal after the first week of classes. A student at another school was arrested. Also at Marlboro, a parent arrested after police say they were able to get into a fight with students inside the school. Apparently, the parent allegedly let in through an unauthorized door. Well, earlier this month in Timonium, a concerned mother came to Fox 45 News saying that her daughter was beat up by a group of students. The mother didn't want video or her identity shared over concerns of retaliation against her daughter. Join us for our next Your Voice, Your Future Town Hall, where you can attend at the Huber Memorial Church right on Loch Raven Boulevard, Monday night, October 24th at 6:30. The subject revolves around young people and crime and whether the answers lies within the church. You're looking ahead this morning to Sunday's matchup with the Ravens and Browns. Special guest who will be in attendance as a lot of Ravens fans are getting ready for the game.
And we are looking at a milder couple of days ahead of us, but I am tracking our next chance for showers tomorrow. I've got an updated look at exactly what that means for the Ravens game if you're headed out to that in a couple of minutes. It's 7:37. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
7:39 and making your headlines this Saturday morning. A national tournament coming to Maryland this weekend. Olivia Garvey with our Sinclair sister station out of Washington, D.C. has our story.
For the first time ever, the professional tour of pickleball is holding a tournament in the Mid-Atlantic region. College Park, Maryland, to be exact.
It's really cool just that it's expanded. The tour is expanded to so many different locations, and here near Washington, D.C., I think is a significant location. It speaks a lot to the growth of the sport, and I'm just happy that it's on the trend it is.
The top pickleball players in the world are playing in the Integrate DC Open this week. 15-year-old women's world number 1, Anna Leigh Waters, and Maryland native Ben Johns.
It feels really good to have a home tournament that I can look forward to once a year. It's really cool because, you know, they've kind of supported me and from afar, and, you know, all that support can kind of come in person, and I can appreciate them as well. You know, I can thank them for following, and then they're in person, and it's just really cool to have kind of a backing like that.
Pickleball is in the process of growth. Over the years, this sport has seen an uptick in popularity, all thanks to the professionals in the sport and some big faces wanting a piece of the game.
It means so much. I mean, just having more and more famous getting into the sport, it just attracts more people to give it a try. And now, like, as we're traveling, you know, weekend after weekend, people know what pickleball is now, and I think it's really, with having so many famous people getting into the sport, that it's really helping us.
You can catch Ben Johns and Catherine Parentu in College Park all weekend long. From College Park, Maryland, Olivia Garvey.
All right, from pickleball to football. You're looking live at M&T Bank Stadium, downtown Baltimore, right there on the right, and you know exactly what's happening this Sunday. The Ravens will be hosting Cleveland Browns tomorrow afternoon. Kickoff is at 1, but it's going to be a very special day because former players who led the team to the Super Bowl win in 2013 will be in Baltimore. This will be part of their 10-year reunion. A day after being limited with hip injury, Lamar Jackson listed as full participant, as is Ronnie Stanley. Mark Andrews, J.K. Dobbins, and Patrick Ricard did not practice for 2 straight days, though. All 3 are dealing with knee injuries. Neither did Marcus Peters, who has an issue with his quad. We know the Purple Pride strong this morning, too. Check this out. Monica sending in this picture of her Ravens makeup. Yeah, very dramatic style, win or lose. Looks like Monica's full Raven, though. She's ready to go. And we want to see how you're showing your Purple Pride leading up to the game. You can just scan that QR code right there on your screen. It will take you to foxbaltimore.com/chime in, where you can also upload your pictures and videos. It's all powered by Stackla. A wanted drug kingpin leads police on a high-speed chase through Baltimore County. Why police had to call off that chase and where the investigation stands now. Well, sunny and warmer Saturday morning here. Look at the fog there. Yeah, my goodness. Right over there, Loch Raven Boulevard. And Loch Raven, meteorologist Amy Aaronson letting us know it will stay like this for tomorrow's game. 7:43, you're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. 7:45, federal agents joining the search for a fugitive wanted in a drug trafficking ring. They say he terrorized a Baltimore neighborhood for years. Alexa Ashwell with this week's Maryland's Most Wanted.
Vincent Davis is one of more than 24 defendants listed in a federal drug trafficking indictment. It's from 2020, and he's been on the run ever since.
Penn North, a neighborhood here in West Baltimore that's known to be plagued by drugs.
Clean up this neighborhood. Get rid of the drugs.
In an attempt to do just that, back in 2020, federal and local authorities announced a takedown of a drug trafficking ring.
Ultimately, they recovered enough fentanyl to kill dozens of people.
29 alleged Penn North drug dealers accused of pumping fentanyl, crack, and powder cocaine using the name Dirty Sprite into the community. In the lineup, 42-year-old Vincent Davis.
He's accused of participating in a large-scale drug trafficking organization.
Al Maresca is a deputy marshal with the U.S. Marshal Service. He says Davis was taken into custody, but due to the pandemic, released and placed on home confinement.
Due to the COVID pandemic, he was released on electronic monitoring. That worked out for a little less than a month before he decided to remove his monitoring device.
Investigators say Davis took off his ankle monitor, and despite promises to family and friends to turn himself in, remains on the run. Now, the U.S. Marshal Service has joined in on the search.
Apparently, they got into a verbal altercation, and he decided to leave the residence. According to local family members, he said he was going to turn himself into the feds, but ultimately he decided against that.
Investigators believe Davis is likely receiving help from family and friends, as well as continuing his dealing ways as a means to survive.
He's going to continue to participate in this illegitimate underground economy.
The true victims, investigators say, the people who call this community home.
But I hope that one day that this area will be cleaned up.
As well as the ones touched by this poison being peddled throughout the city and beyond.
This fentanyl could reach a neighborhood near you.
Take a good look. Davis stands at about 5'6" and weighs approximately 135 pounds. Investigators do believe he's still in the Baltimore region, specifically possibly West Baltimore. If you have any information into his whereabouts, you're asked to contact the U.S. Marshal Service. The tip line number right here, 1-877-WANTED-2. Or you can contact Maresca directly, 202-819-5058. Remember, you can always remain anonymous, and you could earn a reward. I'm Alexa Ashwell, and this is Maryland's Most Wanted.
All right, beautiful Saturday ahead for us. A little crisp out there right now, but meteorologist Amy Aaronson is breaking down the rest of your weekend for us. And I see pumpkin patch. Hey, you got a whole lot going on this weekend, right?
A lot happening this weekend, and luckily the weather will cooperate for most of these activities. If you do want to get out to the pumpkin patch, I'd say today over tomorrow because it's going to be drier, plus it's going to be nice and mild today. Maryland homecoming happening. It's going to be nice and dry for that game today, so it gets the green light. But then for the Ravens game tomorrow, not looking quite as nice, and that's because at that point I am tracking our next weather maker, and that's going to send us a shot at some afternoon showers. This morning, we're starting off with a stunning view of Towson. You can see that low-level fog developed in the distance here, but also the sun shining down on it. We are off to a cool start this morning. Upper 30s, low to mid 40s to start. Jacket-worthy temperatures here if you're stepping out to maybe knock out some weekend errands before things get busy this afternoon. Now, we are all included in this big dome of high pressure. That's actually protecting the eastern half of the country from any rain or unsettled weather, and that means a pretty nice start to the weekend. But offshore, you can see some clouds, and that's our next weather maker. It's actually an area of low pressure hanging out offshore that's going to head our way tomorrow and send us our next opportunity for some rain. Let's track it together hour by hour. Today we stay dry thanks to that area of high pressure. But here comes that area of low pressure barreling towards us as we head through the day today. I think we see the first clouds courtesy of this system tomorrow morning right around daybreak, and then some showers will follow. A nice close-up view of what's happening here in Maryland shows that rain chance. Shows the clouds developing tomorrow morning. And then by kickoff for the Ravens game right around 1 o'clock, we start to see some showers trickle in. I don't think it's going to be a washout, but we are tracking that potential for some on and off showers throughout the afternoon and into the evening. So I would pack the rain jacket for the game just in case you get caught under one of these scattered showers, because the location of them will be highly dependent on how close that area of low pressure gets to our shoreline tomorrow. For today, you're in good shape. We've got all sunshine and very seasonable temperatures. Temperatures end up in the mid and upper 60s today. Tomorrow doesn't look quite as nice. Not only do we have the extra cloud cover, I'm also throwing in that chance for a couple of scattered showers, and that's going to keep our temperatures down a few degrees. They're backing off into the mid 60s. But after Sunday's rain chance, look at how we start off a brand new week. The 70s are back, and not just for one day. Actually, a nice long stretch of the 70s that take us through midweek. We are tracking another rain chance by midweek, but it looks like a slim one. Some spotty showers possible Wednesday into Thursday. And even after that, our temperatures stay consistently mild. We're in the very seasonable mid 60s through next Friday. Tom?
All right, thank you, Amy. While the Browns are trying to stop Lamar, Nick Chubb leads the Browns offense into Sunday's showdown in Charm City. How the Ravens plan to slow him down for the second straight year. 7:50 your time.
Welcome into your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Where were you when the Ravens won Super Bowl 47? Maybe you were at the game. Maybe you watched from the comfort of your couch. But Ravens fans, you remember the celebration that followed. First, the one from the Big Easy, confetti falling from the roof of the Superdome while the team held that Lombardi trophy high. Then the parade that followed. Well, you can relive history this Sunday when the Ravens host the Browns. Over 50 members of that team will be in the house to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the franchise's second world championship. They'll be honored before the game. Then Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, and Ozzie Newsome will all address the crowd at half. Only two players from that team are on the Ravens' current roster, kicker Justin Tucker and linebacker Josh Bynes.
It is crazy, you know, because you go through this process. You've been in this league as long as I've been in, Tuck has been in, and you just go on a year, attacking each year, you know, trying to ultimately win a Super Bowl. And to, you know, obviously 10 years later, still be here and be on this team is just, it's just a blessing in itself. And it just, you know, I just can't wait, like I said, to see the guys on Sunday.
While the Ravens will celebrate the 10-year anniversary of that Super Bowl team, the current squad hopes to also celebrate a win. And that all starts with slowing down the NFL's leading rusher, Nick Chubb. That's someone the Ravens held in check both games in 2021. Shouldn't be a problem.
I'm sure they're looking at we look at all the games against them in the last few years, and they look at all the games against us in the last few years. That's how you do it. But I'm sure they understand that too, and they'll be very determined to make a statement in the run game. I mean, they always are. That's their personality is an offense, and and they're strong. It's something they're really good at.
I got the best two combo running backs in the league, and Chubbs and Hunt, and obviously they each have their own thing that they're special at. They're super hard to tackle. They're fast. They can catch. It's going to be a tough task as always, but we up for it, and that's what AFC North is all about.
To high school football, big-time Friday night showdown at Calvert Hall as the Cardinals played host to Mount St. Joe. Calvert Hall down 14-7, defense bringing the heat. Emil Dorr kicks the door down. He's in for the big-time sack. Cardinals all know, looking to get something going. Noah Brannick rolls right, avoids the pressure, and finds Chris Hewitt for the big pickup on the play. But Calvert Hall's drive would stall. Mount St. Joe's drive would absolutely not. Bryce Cox on the toss, cuts inside, and he will not be denied. Gales get the win. 33-22, the final score. Another great week of HBCU football on CW Baltimore. Last weekend's matchup went to overtime with Virginia Union edging out Bowie State. This Saturday, beginning at 11 a.m., Black College Sports Broadcast Network will bring you Virginia Union at Lincoln. That's today. It should be a great one.
You've got a Lincoln program that's beginning to turn around. They started football again in 2008. They really haven't had a lot of wins. But they're getting better. They're getting better. Josh Dean's the head coach there. And I had them actually last week, and they lost a close game to Elizabeth City down there by 3 points. You're going to enjoy it. They got a young quarterback named Freeman. It's a freshman. Keep your eye on him. He could very much be the CIAA Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think. He's pretty good. And at Virginia Union, I mean, what can you say? Number 11 or 12, depending on the poll. Team in the country, 7-0, 5-0 in CIAA play. Won a huge game. I hate to talk about it, but a huge game in overtime against Bowie State last week that you guys had. And most people would think that they're definitely in the driver's seat to win the CIAA North. So that's what you got. You got a game that you should watch.
It's always a pleasure talking with Stan Luter. That game begins at 11 a.m. That's the coverage. You should tune in and watch it on CW Baltimore. That's your morning sports report. I'm Rocco DeSangro. Have a great Saturday.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
Oh, come on now. Yeah, get ready for that today. It's going to just warm up the more you step outside, so plan on something outdoors. Not just something little either. Maybe you're like, you know what, let's go buy a car. Why not? It's a Saturday, helping the economy, helping the person selling the car. Sure, we can do that. Or maybe just go out there and do some weeding or cutting the grass. Well, thanks for waking up with us on this Saturday, October 22nd. I'm Tom Rogers, carving a pumpkin. There you go. That's another thing you can do today, right?
Well, a squirrel has eaten my entire pumpkin, so I guess I'm out of luck there. But you could go get another pumpkin, right, today. Maybe I'll add that to my list of things to do.
I have a BB gun.
Love them. They love the pumpkins. I don't know why. Upper 30s, low 40s this morning. It is a little chilly to begin, but if you throw on a jacket, I think you'll be all set. And by the afternoon, you don't really need the jacket. Lots of sunshine today with warming temperatures from the 40s to the 50s to the 60s, actually getting awfully close to 70 this afternoon. And today is definitely the better of the 2 weekend days. I don't think tomorrow's going to be a washout, but you're going to want to pay attention to that forecast. And I'll let you know the reason why in just about 10 minutes. Tom?
All right, thank you, Amy. We are going beyond the podium at 8:01 here on this Saturday. A huge shift in the U.S. economy reflected in the results of a recent Harvard-Harris poll. The poll set out to find the mood and the tone of our economy, both now and in the future. And the numbers saw a huge swap from the negative over the last 2 years. Joining us this morning to break down this bleak forecast that this poll reflects, David Williams with the Taxpayers Protection Alliance. Sorry to set you up that way, but I mean, it really took a turn about June of 2021.
Good morning, Tom, and that's right. And if you look at this poll and you look at the numbers in this poll, it really confirms what we all believe, is that the economy is in really tough shape, and people believe the economy is in tough shape. And that's the key here, right, is that people really think that, you know, a recession is going to happen. Either we're in a recession or it's going to happen within the next year. I mean, this is a huge number. 84% of the people responding said that they think that we're in a recession or it's going to happen in the next year because of, you know, gas prices. And we just see really an economy with inflation at record numbers. We have, you know, what, 8.3% inflation. Yeah. So this is a real drain on people's budgets. So this poll really reflects, I think, the mood of the country at this point.
Yeah, I mean, every time you drive by a gas station, you see that, and you're like, hey, guess what? It's below 375, and that's supposed to be a good thing. But looking at this, though, David, it went from 53 plus in January 2021 on the right track for the U.S. economy. 1 year later, 70% of those that were polled say we're negative. We completely flipped and we're on the wrong track there. This sets up for midterm elections coming up in just a couple weeks, though. Do you think this has a major play? I mean, Republicans have been using this. Just look to the economy. Don't worry about anything else. Look at how bad they're doing with the economy, right?
Yeah, it sure does. And this is setting up bad for the Democrats. And if you look at what happened in August with the Inflation Reduction Act, you know, this was one of the shining things of the Democrats that they passed. They don't talk about this anymore. They don't talk about the Inflation Reduction Act. In fact, Senator Joe Manchin, who was the key vote, he says, oh, we've moved on from that. Well, no, you haven't, because it's still dragging down the economy. And that's the problem, is that, you know, President Biden is not campaigning for folks. He was in Pennsylvania a few days ago for Fetterman, but for the most part, he is not campaigning because he knows that his poll numbers are at historical lows. And again, it's tied to the economy. And you talk about 2021, we had supply chain issues, we had inflation, which was really starting to ramp up. And what the government did was they spent more money. That made it worse. And that's what makes inflation worse. So that's why we see the drag on the economy. And this poll is really a reflection, again, of the mood.
David, you and I talked about this, though. The Inflation Reduction Act was proven that will have no impact at all on the reducing the inflation. In fact, it had the opposite effect. I mean, that was standard. Just because they called it that, the politicians knew that that had nothing to do with it. They just needed to get more money into other areas.
That's right. And if you look what's in the Inflation Reduction Act, you know, hiring 87,000 new IRS agents, that didn't play well across the country when you have the IRS that's going to be doing more audits. And Tom, they audit lower income people at a higher rate than they do higher income people. This is a problem. You have green energy. You have electric vehicles that are being subsidized. You have charging stations. People are scratching their head going, why are we building charging stations when we have bigger economic problems in this country? So it's really Congress's disconnect. And here's the problem, Tom, is that the Republicans will probably gain the House of Representatives. They're probably going to win that. But what are they going to do? You know, it's like the dog chasing the car. They're going to catch the car. what do they do when they catch it? And, what kind of policies are they going to put forward? And this is not something that they can just, cheat and, have fun with. They really need a plan going into next year.
Yeah, can't just keep saying, well, you're not doing any of the inflation, then when they get control, not have any plan in place. David Williams, thank you. We appreciate your expertise.
Thank you.
Sure. Some local jurisdictions desperately trying to find poll workers. Baltimore City and County are hiring election judges. Now, the county advertising it as an opportunity to earn some extra cash, while the city is about 1,000 election judges short. The city offering to pay election workers anywhere between $200 and $275 just to work the polls.
Election judges have been hard to recruit ever since the pandemic. We are still hard at work trying to recruit judges. We are still training judges. We do the very best that we can with what we have in our hand to work with.
Now, the city is also struggling to train its election workers. Election director says 60 people were scheduled to come in for a training Wednesday, but just 10 showed up. You can be sure to check out the Fox 45 voter guide for all of our reporting on the upcoming general election. In fact, you can just simply use your phone's camera to scan the QR code to take you straight there. Or if you're not into those QR codes, I get it, head over to foxbaltimore.com/vote2022. Police have identified the man wanted in the murder of an MTA bus driver, Elaine Jackson. Police sharing a picture of Leon Douglas Hill, accused of shooting and killing Jackson at the MTA Bush facility. That's a bus depot in southwest Baltimore. This happened Tuesday night. Police are asking for the public's help, urging anyone who knows where he might be to let them know. We have his picture on foxbaltimore.com, so you can also share it there. At least 2 people are dead after 6 shootings in Baltimore. On the left, you see the map there along Calhoun and Magnolia Avenues. And then on the right, the scene along Greenspring Avenue right near Druid Hill Park, where you can see bullet holes on that car that smashed. The driver survived, too, despite being shot multiple times. But back to the new information that's coming out on Calhoun Street shooting. Officers are saying they found a man inside a vehicle who had been shot multiple times. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Anyone with information on any of these crimes asked to call police or Metro Crime Stoppers. New details now. Maryland's congressional delegation urging Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg to approve grants from the bipartisan infrastructure bill to redevelop Baltimore's Highway to Nowhere. The city hopes to jumpstart that revitalization effort. The Highway to Nowhere is that section of US 40 running from West Baltimore Mark Station to Green Street. It was supposed to go all the way to 70, but in the early 1970s, nearly 1,000 homes in a predominantly black neighborhood were just completely ripped down to the ground for the incomplete project now, permanently dividing once connected, busy and vibrant neighborhoods. Taco Bell innovating the fast food experience just ahead, how some will be able to get a charge while eating their chalupa.
And I am tracking a warming trend for the week ahead. The 70s are back. I'll explain exactly how long they stick around and when we are tracking some showers this week in a couple of minutes. It's 8:08. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
8:10 on this Saturday morning, and in your consumer news, TikTok says it's raising the age limits for hosting live streaming from 16 to 18. Now, the media app is also allowing users to post adult content via streaming. Currently, users with at least 1,000 followers can host a TikTok live stream. 18 and older users can also earn gratuities for their content. A judge rules a class action lawsuit against pasta company Barilla can now move forward. The suit accusing the company of deceptive advertising about its pasta's origins. Now, the issue is the brand slogan, quote, Italy's #1 brand of pasta. Well, the lawsuit claims the slogan suggests customers will then believe it's actually made in Italy. But the pasta is actually made in Iowa and some in New York, using the same type of machines that they used in their hometown plant in Parma, Italy. Taco Bell is adding to its menu, but it's not food. Take a look. Fast food joint adding electric charging stations to its parking lots in more than 100 locations across California. The stations are solar powered and can give 100 miles of charge in about 20 minutes, and it will cost you about $20. We all knew it was coming, and now it appears we're just learning how much Netflix will be charging to share their accounts. But there's questions about this. The company is reportedly weighing a $3 to $4 monthly fee to share accounts. Netflix has proposed cracking down on the use of shared passwords, saying it costs the company about $6 billion in lost revenue yearly when those other users are not paying. But what if you have a vacation home and you go there and you log into Netflix there? Do you have to pay a $3 service charge? A lot of questions. Pumpkin spice lovers might be enjoying this season. Fans of all things pumpkin prepare to pay more, though, when you step up to the register. A report by the finance website Magnify Money found pumpkin spice items are 14% more expensive than their non-flavored varieties. And data shows retailers typically charge an informal pumpkin spice tax to several fall-flavored groceries and food items. The debate over whether Baltimore City school resources should be armed reigniting. Project Baltimore demanding answers as a 17-year-old accused of killing a Marlboro high school student has his day in court. The Ravens taking on the Cleveland Browns tomorrow afternoon right at M&T Bank Stadium. Meteorologist Amy Aaronson letting us know if you'll need that jacket or maybe just grab the poncho. 8:12. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Fox 45 Morning News is sponsored by the Snyder Law Group. If you've been injured as a result of a medical mistake, call 410-THE-FIR. Don't just sue them, Snyder them.
8:15 on this Saturday morning, Fox 45 News has learned the Baltimore teen charged with killing a 17-year-old football player right outside of a city high school set to stand trial in February. As Project Baltimore's Chris Papps explains, the brazen shooting has renewed the debate over whether school police officers should be armed at all times.
Police. They're on the parking lot and they need a medic. It was a shooting that claimed the life of 17-year-old Jeremiah Brogdon, gunned down outside Marlboro High School.
Put out a citywide broadcast where we had students everywhere.
Police say it was a cold-blooded murder, which could have ended very differently if it happened just 19 minutes earlier.
Our police officers don't sign up to die.
Sergeant Clyde Boatwright is a city schools police officer and FOP president.
If he just killed one person, he'll kill another.
Boatwright says the shooter ran from the scene but was quickly apprehended for one reason, because the murder happened at 2:54 in the afternoon, 19 minutes after dismissal, when school police were armed.
So if you don't have the tools to stop him, why chase him? There's no expectation to chase an armed person and you're not armed.
Right now, under state law, Baltimore City is the only school police force in Maryland not allowed to carry guns in school during the school day. Their firearms are locked away until after dismissal. Had Brogdon been shot 19 minutes earlier, the police officers who responded would likely have been unarmed. And Boatwright says that means they would have been less likely to chase after a suspect who is armed, because it's too dangerous.
The suspect would have had the time he needed to get away. The officer would have had to go to a secure location, retrieve the firearm, and then respond back to the active threat.
Project Baltimore has learned the suspect in that shooting is 17-year-old Nazad Daniels, a student at Achievement Academy at Harbor City High School. He is charged with first-degree murder. Last school year, 15 guns were confiscated inside Baltimore City schools, a record amount according to Boatwright. 2 guns have already been confiscated this school year. And we've seen a number of violent incidents in recent years. But as concerns over violence appear to be growing, the police force is shrinking. According to city schools, the police force had more than 100 employees in 2016. That number has dropped every year since. It currently has 78 active employees to protect about 160 schools.
The numbers of active officers is the lowest that has been under my tenure since I've been there for 20 years.
Between a shortage of qualified candidates and poor retention, Boatwright says the police department is stretched too thin.
So, Chris, what I would say to you, by the way, good morning. Good to see you.
Project Baltimore caught up with City School CEO Dr. Sonia Santelises at a recent press conference, where we asked her about the shortage of police officers. Does that concern you?
I will say we have about 5 to 7 vacancies right now, which for us is absolutely felt. We've talked about with FOP in terms of negotiations around salary and other incentives we can build in to recruit.
Baltimore City Schools told Project Baltimore there are actually 11 vacancies. Since 2019, the department has been allocated 89 employees, again, for roughly 160 schools. And remember, those employees under state law are not armed while in school. In 2018, after a shooting at a Baltimore high school, the city school board recommended lawmakers change the law and allow city schools police to carry guns at all times. But the issue was never voted on in Annapolis. And school CEO Dr. Sonia Santelises has never taken a public stance on the topic.
Do you believe that school police officers should be armed inside of these new schools or any school?
One, we know that that's a legislative issue. What I have said and gone on record as saying is that we have one of the best school police forces in the nation. My job is to make sure that our school police have what they need to be effective.
But do you have an opinion? This can be a matter of life and death.
If you want to go out to coffee and talk about it, Chris, we can, but I'm standing here right now as the Chief Executive Officer of Baltimore City Public Schools, and that's been my position, that either way the legislature goes, we are prepared to continue to work to keep young people in school safe.
Lawmakers will reconvene in Annapolis in January, but as of now, there are no bills addressing whether school police should be armed. I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
All right, thank you, Chris. Look forward to hearing about that coffee break that you had with the CEO. Now we want to go over to meteorologist Amy Aaronson, though. She's got a quick look at our forecast here. A great Saturday.
Great Saturday, great day to check out some of the fall colors that are now appearing around our area. Here's one image from Melody. You can see some beautiful fall colors reflecting off the water there. We want to see all your leaf peeping pics. If you get any good ones this weekend, head over to foxbaltimore.com/chime-in and you can get us the pictures there. We are starting off with just a little bit of fog this morning, not reducing any visibilities right now, though, as we look down at the Inner Harbor. We're off to a cool start, 40 degrees to begin, but with the help of that sunshine, we're going to warm up quickly. And we are included in this big area of high pressure that is keeping much of the East Coast dry right now. Not much happening at all on the weather map. Our next disturbance is offshore. It's a coastal system. That's going to throw us that chance for rain come tomorrow. But today we're rain-free. Nothing really happening. Clear skies and sunshine. But then tomorrow we cloud up our skies, and here comes that area of low pressure. Now, rain chances are going to be location dependent. If you're closer to the coast, I think you'll see more rain. If you're back towards Baltimore, just some on and off scattered showers, starting up around midday and taking us through Sunday evening. So it's not going to be completely dry, but also not a washout. Today, completely dry. We've got blue skies and sunshine and seasonable temperatures. Temperatures will warm through the 40s, 50s, right into the mid and actually upper 60s today, getting close to 70 degrees. Today is definitely the better of the 2 weekend days for outdoor plans, heading to the pumpkin patch, maybe having a fire pit tonight with the family. It's going to be perfect conditions for that. After sunset, temperatures will be falling through the 60s and the 50s, but I think if you're sitting by a fire pit with a nice sweatshirt on, you should be in good shape. Now, tomorrow for the Ravens game, I would pack the rain jacket just in case. We've got that chance for some scattered showers. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and still pretty comfortable, at least temperature-wise. We'll spend the afternoon in the mid-60s tomorrow. And after that, we're actually tracking a warming trend. Rain chances don't stick around for Monday. Instead, we're off to a bright and sunny start with highs bouncing back into the low 70s. And then we stay there. So we are looking at a milder week ahead of us. Low 70s will stick around all the way through midweek. And that's also when I'm tracking our next chance for some showers. Doesn't look like a huge chance, just some spotty showers possible Wednesday into Thursday. And it looks like we're dry again as we head at least into the start of next weekend with highs in the mid-60s on Friday. Tom?
All right, thank you, Amy. The first death from monkey pox in our state. How health officials say you can protect yourself from the virus. She's scared to send her kids back to school. Mother's concerns after she says a video shows her young children is being beaten. 8:23, you're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning. 8:25 and topping your health headlines this Saturday morning, the Maryland Department of Health confirming the state's first monkeypox death. It's one of only 5 monkeypox-related deaths nationwide to this point. Health officials say the person was immunocompromised, resulting in a more severe case. Now, this comes as the health department continues to push for people to get their monkeypox vaccine. State leaders say nearly 700 Marylanders have contracted the virus. Baltimore City launching its first vaccination clinic this week.
So I want to be clear, anyone can contract this disease. What we have seen in this particular outbreak here in the U.S. is that there are groups that are higher risk, specifically men who have sex with men. However, what we see with the CDC expanding their eligibility criteria is that many people are at risk. If you're coming in close contact with multiple sexual partners or unidentified sexual partners and you're uncertain of their history, you are considered to now be in that eligibility criteria.
Vaccines are available by appointment only. Those who pre-registered will get an email from the city letting them know when they can access that clinic. If you want to register, just go to health.baltimorecity.gov. Former President Trump now formally subpoenaed and called to Capitol Hill to answer questions about the January 6th attacks. 10 pages sent to the former president demanding he appear before the committee, either in person or by video conference, November 14th. Now, that committee is also requesting Trump turn over communications with members of his inner circle, focusing on the 3 weeks leading up to January 6th. Trump could face legal penalties if he doesn't testify. Several shootings across Baltimore City Friday, why some argue that crime bills which stalled in Annapolis could have made a difference. Plus, a sunny and warmer day ahead after the break. Meteorologist Amy Aaronson breaking down the full weekend forecast for us as you're looking at some fog over Loch Raven right now. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News, all local, all morning.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 Morning News.
8:30, look at this. This is the day you're going to accomplish it. You were like, maybe I should write a book. Yes, today, start it. Get out the typewriter, start tapping away, right? Why not? Thanks for being here on this Saturday, October 22nd. I'm Tom Rogers. Taylor Stewart has the weekend off. We want to get right over to your forecast. Meteorologist Amy Aaronson, dressed in her fall foliage colors here.
Yeah, trying to match what we're seeing outside. Looks awesome out there right now, and as we head into the weekend, it's going to stay pretty nice. The weekend as a whole looks decent. We just have one little rain chance coming by the end. But this morning, we're off to a dry start. We've got blue skies, sunshine, and low 40s to get your day started. Feels like fall this morning. These numbers will all be warming this afternoon, so if you want to squeeze in a walk with the dog, maybe a jog or a run, all you're looking at, sunny skies and warming temperatures. With each passing hour, it feels better and better. We're in the mid-50s by 10 a.m. By the end of the morning, we're already nearing 60. And I would say today is definitely the better day for these outdoor activities. I'll explain the reason why and show you when our next weather maker gets here in just over 10 minutes. Tom?
All right, thank you, Amy. Now to a city in crisis as the crime continues, many questioning what's fueling it. We've seen several pushes for stronger crime policy in Annapolis, many waved away by Democratic lawmakers taking a more progressive approach. Maxine Stryker looks into Governor Hogan's unsuccessful attempts to pass laws focusing on stricter sentences.
I don't think there's any doubt that politics has made its way into the criminal justice system on so many levels.
Maryland has struggled for years to pass laws some would bill tough on crime. The legislation routinely receiving pushback in Annapolis. Republican Senator Bob Castle told us earlier this year the tug of war between those looking to be tough on crime and those not is only growing more contentious. The Violent Firearms Offender Act, aimed to crack down on criminals who use guns, has been introduced several times without success, failing to become law again this year.
Really, for the last couple of years, everything's been at a standstill.
Political analyst John Deedy says the legislation introduced by Governor Larry Hogan may never have stood a chance with lawmakers at ideological odds.
In many ways, in Annapolis, it became more of a political battle. Okay, if the governor wants these things, we know what we don't want, and it's the things the governor wants.
Then there was the repeal of the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights. Democratic lawmakers overrode Governor Larry Hogan's veto to enact significant police reforms, including upping the civil liability police officers can face in lawsuits and raising the penalty for use of excessive force. Harford County Sheriff Jeffrey Gaylor said it sets a dangerous precedent.
To be clear, no one wants bad police officers on their force or on our streets. To be equally as clear, the processes, tools, and laws already exist to allow police leadership to fire those officers who should not be in service to our communities. Stripping away a proven due process system is not police reform.
Betsy Smith with the National Police Association says woke politics have led to the vilification of law enforcement.
As the state continues to see record violent crime, the attacks on law enforcement in the legislature and throughout the state continue to be increasingly frustrating for law enforcement.
And Smith says communities are suffering as a result.
You know who's paying for it? It's the people of the state of Maryland who are paying for it.
We reached out to all of the members of Baltimore City's delegation, where homicides are on pace to pass 300 for another year, asking, do you think you've held criminals accountable or emboldened criminals with legislation you have or have not supported in the past? How do you plan to address crime and the rising homicide numbers in Baltimore City in the next session? And do you think it will take a tougher approach to address the crime crisis? Deedy says it's time our elected leaders wake up and focus on what's really important.
A lot of times the people in Annapolis have worried about the silly things, such as worrying about, let's deal with the crime issue by dealing with strippers on the block, instead of focusing on something like, oh, there's a problem with guns or there's a problem with other aspects of public safety. We need more police on the ground. We need to do a better job of focusing on enforcing law enforcement.
Maxine Stryker, Fox 45 News.
Thank you, Maxine. And that brings us to our question of the day. Do you blame, quote, woke politicians for the recent rise in crime? So far, as you see on the bottom of your screen there, 96% of those who have voted say yes. You can still weigh in by heading to foxbaltimore.com/vote to make your voice heard. 8:34, and this morning a mother speaks out after video emerges reportedly taken outside of a Baltimore County elementary school. The mother says it shows her 5-year-old daughter being attacked. Fox 45's Rael Creighton has our story.
Silent but vicious videos surfacing on social media. A mother telling us by phone those are her daughters, just 5 and 11 years old, being dragged and beaten.
Grabbed her by her hair and threw her down and started beating her head in.
Kayla Shiflett says her 11-year-old suffered a mild concussion. Her 5-year-old pushed to the ground in an unprovoked attack by 2 girls who both attend different schools, one of them in middle school, the other high school. Shiflett says who showed up to her kindergartner's building, Grange Elementary, 2 weeks ago. Her children both beaten and humiliated.
Every kid in the middle school knew about it the next day because they videoed it, posted on Instagram and TikTok. Any kid can go to any school and just beat up anybody and nothing can be done.
A mother outraged, believing this is part of a pattern of ongoing fighting happening in county schools. She says she was told by administrators due to privacy any disciplinary action taken against the girls who assaulted her daughters can't be revealed.
We are taking action.
Baltimore County Superintendent Dr. Darrell Williams, along with other top education officials, holding a town hall earlier this month to discuss the steps they say they have taken to combat violence and refute claims students are not being disciplined.
The fact that I couldn't protect her or be that person and make sure she was okay, and that it's just not fair.
Shiflett says she wants to know exactly how the kids who beat up her little girls will be held accountable.
I want justice for my daughter. I want her to feel like she's safe.
Well, now violence has plagued Maryland schools just to start this year. Students shot and killed at Marlboro High School in Baltimore City during dismissal after the first week of classes. A student at another high school was arrested. Also at Marlboro, a parent arrested after police say they got into a fight with students inside the school. The parent allegedly let in through an unauthorized door. And earlier this month in Timonium, a concerned mother came to Fox 45 News saying that her daughter was beat up by a group of students. That mother didn't want video or her identity shared over concerns of retaliation against her daughter. Well, you can join us for our next Your Voice, Your Future Town Hall, where you can attend the Huber Memorial Church on Lochraven Boulevard Monday night, October 24th. Starts at 6:30. Subject revolves around young people in crime and whether the answer lies in the church. We are looking ahead this morning to Sunday's matchup with Ravens and Browns. The special guest who will be in attendance at that game.
And I've got an updated look at the forecast for that game. I'll break down our rain chance for tomorrow and let you know how you can prepare for that in just a couple of minutes. It's 8:37. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News.
8:40, and the sport of pickleball has been growing exponentially over the years. This weekend, the top players in the world making their way to College Park, Maryland for the first time to play in the Integrate DC Open. Olivia Garvey with her Sinclair sister stationed in Washington, D.C. has our story.
For the first time ever, the professional tour of pickleball is holding a tournament in the Mid-Atlantic region. College Park, Maryland, to be exact.
It's really cool just that it's expanded. The tour is expanded to so many different locations, and here near Washington, D.C., I think is a significant location. It speaks a lot to the growth of the sport, and I'm just happy that it's on the trend it is.
The top pickleball players in the world are playing in the Integrate DC Open this week. 15-year-old women's world number 1, Anna Leigh Waters, and Maryland native Ben Johns.
It feels really good to have a home tournament that I can look forward to once a year. It's really cool because, you know, they've kind of supported me and from afar, and, you know, all that support can kind of come in person, and I can appreciate them as well. You know, I can thank them for following, and then they're in person, and it's just really cool to have kind of a backing like that.
Pickleball is in the process of growth. Over the years, this sport has seen an uptick in popularity, all thanks to the professionals in the sport and some big faces wanting a piece of the game.
It means so much. I mean, just having more and more famous getting into the sport, it just attracts more people to give it a try. And now, like, as we're traveling, you know, weekend after weekend, people know what pickleball is now, and I think it's really, with having so many famous people getting into the sport, that it's really helping us.
You can catch Ben Johns and Catherine Parenteau in College Park all weekend long. From College Park, Maryland, Olivia Garvey.
Thank you, Olivia. You're taking a live look right now at M&T Bank Stadium. That's right, in Baltimore, and that's where it's all going to be left. Looks like they're doing something right now in Lot C there. See all the activity? Well, the Ravens will be hosting Cleveland Browns tomorrow afternoon. Kickoff is at 1, and it's going to be a special day because former players who led the team to their Super Bowl win in 2013 will be in Baltimore. This will be part of their 10-year reunion. A day after being limited with a hip injury, Lamar Jackson was listed as full participant, as is Ronnie Stanley. Now, Mark Andrews, J.K. Dobbins, and Pat Ricard, though, did not practice for 2 days in a row. All three are dealing with knee injuries. Neither did Marcus Peters, who has an issue with his quad. Fall and winter bring new lash styles. After the break, we go over this season's hottest trends. Plus a sunny and warmer Saturday morning, too. Meteorologist Amy Aaronson letting us know if it will stay like this for tomorrow's game. One clue, no, not as nice, but she'll explain how bad it gets. You're watching Fox 45 Morning News All Local all morning. 8:45 and trending now. It's all about the lashes this fall and winter. The annual lash shed could be in the fall, and it's here. And it's time to turn around, because starting today, revive your summer lashes with some help. In fact, joining us now, multi-award winner and owner esthetician at OCB Spa, Kristen Floyd. Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. Now, we do have to brag about you real quick. You won both Baltimore Magazine, Baltimore Weddings Magazine, Reader's Poll, Best of Baltimore for Best Spa, Best Lashes, Best Brows, Best Makeup. So did you get an award or anything? Did they give you a tattoo? What do you get?
I wish. I'll probably get one on my own. But no, I have a plaque coming. So soon there'll be a plaque, but really just, your name in the magazine and then all the notoriety that comes with that.
The notoriety is it. And that's why people keep coming back to you, especially for their looks and what to do. Because, I mean, some things can look good. Other things, if you go to the wrong people, maybe not. So we're talking about lashes, though. I'm not much into lashes myself, but I've been told lashes kind of get a little bit thinner in the fall or winter months. You were saying actually you see that more in the summer.
Well, if we're talking in terms of services, right? So we're talking how to enhance the lashes. And if we're talking eyelash extensions, which is a way to enhance your natural lashes by adding a individual extension to each individual eyelash, to basically mimic having false lashes, but have it be way more natural. So you can see that shed more in the winter. But this is a lash lift and perm. So this is a lash lift and filler that we're looking at right now. And that's a way to just boost your natural lashes. And it's actually going to help thicken them by like 24% after you get it done 3 times. And it actually has a keratin treatment to help nourish that weaker eyelash. So if you're concerned about in the winter months, you might notice a more shed, or you're concerned about your eyelashes being weaker or thinner, not only does this curl them, lift them, tint them to make them pop more, but it's gonna strengthen the lash by a lot with that lift and filler, and it's also gonna thicken them by about 24%.
All right, is there topical solutions right here that are involved with this too to help thicken the lash?
It's basically a perm, but for your lashes. So each one of those steps, so it's basically like perm on a little rod, right, to curl your lashes. So it can be customized. So different curls, if you want it curlier, if you want it not as curly, and then we perm, neutralize, and then that last step, which is the filler, is a keratin treatment, and that's the one that's going to really nourish the hair and really finish it. But it has a tint as well, so it makes them darker. So it's going to make them pop as well in color.
You were saying 3 sessions. How long does each session take?
About an hour and a half is what I would set aside for it, from literal beginning to end. And we're going to talk and have a consultation. And I'm going to, of course, take pictures. So I would set aside about an hour and a half for all that. And this is, of course, eyelash extensions. I'm sure you have a ton of questions about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's different types too, right? I mean, extensions they go the gamut. I mean, really, you can get the single strips, or as you were saying, the individual. So what's the pros and cons?
I love that you know that, and I love that you're asking me that. So pros and cons of that are the strip lashes or anything like that is temporary, right? It's just for the day. Right. You're just going to take them off and remove them. And so the pro about that is no maintenance, right? This is the eyelash extensions, and you can see that it's super dramatic for her, and that's what she chose, as a more dramatic look, and she was a bride to be. So we were making it very glam. And those are the individual extensions that are applied to each individual eyelash. And so they last for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and they're all gone at the same time. That's when you want to come in to have a fill-in, because your eyelashes, as we were talking about earlier, they shed. Every hair on your body sheds, and it has a shedding cycle, right? So it's growing, resting, and shedding. So you come in every 2 or 3 weeks. So we catch those lashes in that phase so that you never look like you need a whole new full set, and you just wake up every day with your lashes looking fabulous. No mascara, no nothing. They're already curled, they're already black, and look like you have on mascara, and they can be supremely natural, like we see the one now that she's more natural, or really dramatic.
Kristen Floyd, that's why you won all the best awards, right?
I try.
All right. Owner and esthetician at OCB Spa. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
8:49 now, and we want to go over to meteorologist Amy Aaronson and take a look at the forecast, and a lot of events to do, especially with the entire family.
Exactly. So much happening. It's a busy fall weekend, whether you're heading to the pumpkin patch or maybe homecoming down at University of Maryland today. It looks great. It's dry, it's mild. Today is the day for outdoor plans. That's why I'm giving both of those activities the green light. If you're headed to the Ravens game tomorrow, I did bump it to the yellow light. I don't think it's a complete washout, but we will be tracking at least a couple of showers throughout that game. Now, we are starting off with blue skies and sunshine this morning and some chilly temperatures. We're stuck in the 40s right now, even some lingering mid-30s in Columbia. But I promise, all these numbers are going to be warming today. And that's courtesy of high pressure. Big dome of high pressure dominating the East Coast, helping keep us all dry before our next weather maker gets here. And our next weather maker's out here. It's offshore. You can see lots of clouds associated with that. That's what's going to head our way tomorrow and change things up, making tomorrow not quite as nice for outdoor activities. Today, you're in good shape. We've got blue skies and sunshine and warming temperatures. But here comes that pesky area of low pressure working its way offshore, up the coast, and then eventually throwing some clouds back our way by this time tomorrow. It's tomorrow afternoon, I think, that we're tracking the shower chance. So a closer look at that shower chance shows it's slim. It's really location dependent. If you're closer to the shoreline at the beaches, I think a better shot at some showers there. 1 o'clock, for example, here in Baltimore, we're just mostly cloudy and overcast. And this updated forecast model shows barely a rain chance through the game and through the afternoon. So we're just going to have to watch how close that area of low pressure gets to us. I'd plan on at least a couple of showers, but once again, as you can see here, not a washout. And by Monday morning, that system long gone and the sun is back out. Today is certainly the brighter of the 2 weekend days, with highs headed for the upper 60s to near 70. Tomorrow's not quite as pretty. It does include more clouds and that brief shower chance, but temperature-wise, we're still in pretty good shape and exactly where we should be for late October, hanging out in the mid to upper 60s. And after the weekend, temperatures are warming up. We've got a milder week ahead of us. We had a brief little taste of winter this past week. That's now going to be a distant memory, and the low 70s are back not only for one day, but as we head towards midweek. Now, in a couple of minutes, I'll let you know exactly how long this milder stretch lasts in your full 7-day forecast. Tom?
Thank you, Amy. 8:52, Genevieve Gorder has a look at today's Steals and Deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Knocking.
You guys, we have all seen a lot of weather events happening across the country, and that means more power outages. So we all need to be more prepared. We never think we'll find ourselves in a life-threatening situation until we do. When you lose power, what's the first thing you look for? A flashlight. Second thing you look for is a charger for your phone. This is Jump Smart. And first of all, the flashlight is super powerful and lasts for hours. And the devices, I bet you have at least 3 or more people in your house that would need a charge and a flashlight in an emergency. And look, you can charge your phone right here. Jump Smart, it can safely jump your car in case your car battery dies. The 3-step instructions are right on the bag. Anyone can use it and not get shocked. This is your power bank for everything. Every family member should have one of these by their bedside. And there's nothing more important in an emergency than being connected, being able to call for help. This is something you don't know you need until it's too late. Do you have kids at college, an elderly parent? Do you want everyone in your house to be safe? Yes. This 10-in-1 tool gives you peace of mind for yourself and everyone you love. You can't put a price on safety, but we are always thinking about you. So the deal today on Jump Smart is 29% off. When it comes to keeping your family safe, we've got your back. Head over to asadeals.com.
8:55 on a beautiful Saturday morning. Isn't this nice? Are you normally up by this time on the weekend?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, waking up at 2 o'clock in the week, by 4:30, you're kind of like, wait, what day is it? Oh, okay.
It's Saturday.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe enjoying some coffee, but right now, why not look at that view? It's beautiful out there this morning.
A great day and a lot that can happen today. I mean, there's a lot of activities going on out there, but also, you know what? You want to just hang out with the family? Go pick some pumpkins.
Exactly. Perfect day at the pumpkin patch. I'm sure it's going to be very busy there. Upper 60s today. Tomorrow's not quite as nice, but I really don't think it's a washout. I think it's just going to be overcast, a couple of showers, temperatures still in the mid-60s, and then the rest of the week looks much, much better. We had a kind of a chilly, wintry week ahead behind us. Now ahead of us, it looks more like spring again. Low 70s are back. Nice warm fall days. Some cool nights, but we're in the 50s instead of the 40s and the 30s, so that's a nice change. And then I think our other only real rain chance comes Wednesday into Thursday, and even that one looks pretty slim. And through next Friday, looks like next weekend starts off dry too if you're planning ahead. Getting closer and closer to Halloween, we've got mid-60s for next Friday.
All right, Halloween, trick-or-treating, and the candy. But before we get to that, we have an addition that we need to talk to you about for the Fox 45 family. Morgan Adsit and her husband, Jeff, welcomed their baby Hudson to the world Monday. And here is a great shot of both he and also their first son, Boozer.
Boozer, of course. I'm sure going through a little bit of an adjustment, but looks like he's doing okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet the little fella. He looks so peaceful and sleepy.
Morgan said she was texting out. She's like, I'll see you in a few months.
Yep, she'll be back in January after the new year.
Yeah, that's incredible. Congratulations to you, Morgan, and also Jeff, and of course, Boozer. Sorry about the adjustment. You will get some attention, not nearly as much, though. Hudson's going to get it all now.
Hopefully they're all sleeping, right?
Yeah, that's right. Love it. Can't wait to meet them.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us. 8:57 on this Saturday morning. Get out and do something, right?
Enjoy the sun.
Yeah.